Welcome back. The investigation into the Biden documents case has come to an end for now, although special counsel Robert K. Hur did find that Biden had willfully retained and even disclosed classified material after leaving the vice presidency. He has decided not to file criminal charges. Yet another example of the multi-tiered justice system, right? However, there was a particularly interesting line in the special counsel report. Mr. Hur wrote, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview with him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Oh, okay, so the current occupant of the White House is unfit for a trial because of his memory, but somehow still fit for office? As Edward Dowd correctly points out, the mere fact that Biden's handlers allowed him to do a press conference at 7:45 p.m. today, after months of keeping him from the press, is proof they are setting him up to fail. The rug is being pulled out right before our eyes. The decision has been made. He is done. Only question now is who is up to bat for replacement? Well, let's ask Alex Newman that question, CEO of Liberty Sentinel Media. Alex, thanks for being with us. It's great to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you, Alison.
Of course. Well, Alex, what are your thoughts on the special counsel's findings? And is this setting the stage for a new anointing?
I think it is. I think Ed Dowd hit the nail on the head. What we're watching here is basically Biden's handlers, the people behind the scenes, maybe not his immediate staff, but the people behind the scenes who like to think they run things, have determined that they'll get more done without Joe Biden on the scene. It looks like they're getting ready to wheel him off stage left. And who they might replace him with is anybody's guess. It very much looks like the governor of California, Governor Newsom, is being groomed for something important. And Michelle Obama might be in the running as well. You know, if you listen to people like Roger Stone, one of the most astute political analysts who's got more experience with the behind-the-scenes political machinations than just about anybody in the world, he has publicly proposed that Michelle Obama might be playing a big role here. So I suspect they realize that Biden has now become a liability. I think they liked him for a long time. It's kind of a fitting symbol of America's decline, this dithering idiot who can't form a complete sentence, who shakes hands with the air. But at this point, they need somebody a little bit more serious to take on their arch nemesis, Donald Trump, and I think that's what we're going to see.
I think you are right about that, Alex. The question is, who's it going to be? Gavin Newsom or Big Mike? I mean, Michelle Obama. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. We will stay tuned. But Alex, I did want to show you another clip from Biden on Thursday night where he's clearly showing more signs of dementia. Let's check this out real quick, and then we'll come back to you.
Initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate.
Just incredible. Alex, I have to know, I know you and I kind of probably surround ourselves with like-minded people, but is there anyone on this earth that really thinks Biden is a strong leader for our nation right now? How does anyone still buy into this?
I have not met any, and I would be very, very surprised if there were any. I think the best thing that people can say about Biden, even the people still glued to their CNN or their MSNBC, a number that is rapidly declining every day, the best thing they can say about him is, well, at least he's not Trump. And, at least he's not Orange Man Bad, the big Cheeto, and so we'll take him unless you give us somebody better. I don't know anybody who's really enthusiastic about Biden. I don't know anybody who's excited about this campaign, and I think that dithering speech where he compared to Egypt to Mexico accidentally, I think is a good indication of why. And this is the guy who, at least in theory, has got his finger on the nuclear football. So very, very dangerous situation for our country, too.
Very dangerous indeed. I thought the Mockingbird media coverage of all of this was pretty interesting. CNN actually followed up to Biden's presser from Thursday, and I thought their coverage was actually fairly accurate for once. Let's take a look at this.
Something else that the president said, he said that none of the documents were high classified. But if you look at the report, it specifically says that some of these documents were marked as top secret, sensitive, compartmented information, which is a high level of classification, and that there were some notebooks that contained information that were also at this level.
I'm at a loss for words, Alex. I actually pointed out his inconsistencies. Are they actually revealing who Biden truly is?
I think it's more evidence that the assertion of Ed Dowd earlier, the deep state decided to throw this guy under the bus, is exactly on the money. This is actually an example of malinformation. Pat Wood of Citizens for Free Speech, I'm working as a spokesman there now too. He talked about this malinformation idea that it's true information, but you're using it for sinister purposes. And I think that's what CNN is doing here. It's true, yes, but why are they finally revealing some truth to you? Well, it's because they want to move Biden out and bring somebody else in. So very strategic, and you can always take it to the bank when you're watching CNN. If they give you the truth, it's because they have an ulterior motive. I think in this case, the ulterior motive is they've decided Biden is toast. It's time to move him out.
That is a great point, Alex. I think you're spot on there. And all of this really makes me wonder who's ultimately pulling the strings, right? Who's calling the shots here? Do you have any guesses as to who's controlling this? And does this extend throughout governments across the world as well?
It absolutely does, Alison. This is a topic that's been near and dear to my heart for so many years. I wrote a book a couple years ago called Deep State, the Invisible Government Behind the Scenes. And these people have names. Their organizations have addresses. I mean, some of them are kind of secretive. You guys have the weirdos in California, the Bohemian Grove, and you got Skull and Bones over at Yale. But then there's above ground groups like the Council on Foreign Relations, right? These have been the puppet masters in administrations of both parties, unfortunately, going back generations, at least until Donald Trump came along and blew up the system. You've got the Bilderbergers, the Trilateral. You look at Biden's administration, it is packed with people coming out of the Trilateral Commission, David Rockefeller's little minions. And so, yes, there are people pulling the strings behind the scenes. They've got names, they've got organizations that they represent, and I think they've decided that Biden is just no longer useful to them as a puppet anymore.
I think you are right, Alex. I mean, if anyone doesn't see that at this point, I think you got a lot of research to do. Maybe you should pick up Alex's book, because I know you've been exposing this for quite some time. But Alex, I do want to ask you, what does this mean for America? What type of leader does America and the world really need right now? I think a lot of people are just so brainwashed, to have a certain perhaps negative connotation about the word populist really is. But I think that's really our own detriment here. I know you recently wrote an article about the populist revolt. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So what's happening, and this is not just in the United States, this is all across the Western world, and even in some cases beyond the Western world, you're seeing the people, the tax serfs, the voters, the people who've been abused and exploited by their governments and these globalist organizations for so long. They're saying no more. And so when the media tells them vote for this guy, they vote against that guy. You're seeing it all across Europe. We saw in the Netherlands, Geert Wilders. We saw in Sweden and Switzerland. I mean, all these right-wing conservative populist parties that are anti-establishment, anti-globalism, anti-big government are dominating. We just saw it in Argentina with Javier Milei. We are seeing so much of this, and I think it's like a last gasp of the people saying, no, we're not going to go quietly into global serfdom. Sorry. So 2024 is going to shape up very, very interesting. It'll be the battle of our lifetimes. It
sure will. Interesting times ahead indeed. I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully the uprising continues and people continue to speak up and stand up, because if not, I don't know if we are even going to have a country anymore. It's crazy times, Alex Newman, but thank you so much for spreading awareness on all of this, and thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Alison.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.